Okay, welcome back to Hello Player One. Today we are talking with Cyberdragon Games, also known as Peter. Peter is a very well-known community developer in the Sandbox, creating all kinds of tutorials on how to create different game mechanics. So, Cyberdragon, welcome, and we're also joined with my co-host Clayton. So, yeah,
hey guys.
Why don't we get started, Peter, with having you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the Sandbox.
Yeah, so I was a regular worker before the pandemic kicked in. And once the pandemic kicked in, I found myself at home a lot. And I found Sandbox before it was even released, the first game maker. And I hung around in the Discord and kept an eye on the project. And basically once 0.1 come out, the first version of Game Maker, I was able to get my hands on it. And I was able to create a whole bunch of different mechanics and ideas. And went from there.
Had they had the land sale yet when you joined? Okay.
Yes. So they had one land sale before I found out about the project's performance. I knew about them in about 2018 when Decentraland was floating around. Sandbox had a few screenshots of what they wanted to build, but it was just an idea back then, and I kind of ignored it until the land sale kicked in 2020. And the second sale, I bought a whole bunch of land because they were only like $55 back then, and comparing it to like Decentraland and Crypto Voxels, which were like in the hundreds and some of them were in the thousands, it made sense to buy as much as I could at the time. And yeah, it panned out quite well.
So, like, what was it that you saw in the Sandbox? Because we talked about this prior because you said that you were looking at Decentraland, and then when you saw the Sandbox, you were like, okay, I'm going all in on this. Like, what was it that you saw in the Sandbox that got you so excited?
So I already played with Decentraland. I own a couple of lands there from the very first land sale in 2017. I still hold them. I don't build on that platform because the limitations of what you can put on your land is quite small, and the editor/program to build on it is not very. It wasn't good at the time. Sandbox was backed by Square Enix. They had $1 million investment from Square Enix, which is a huge. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, and I like Square Enix. And if Sandbox has their attention, maybe it's worth looking at. And then I saw partnerships with like Shaun the Sheep and Atari, and well-known brands were paying attention to this project. So to me, it was very obvious. So the game builder concept is like Minecraft, where you're dealing with voxels or blocks, which is a simplistic approach which anyone can do. Whereas Decentraland was 3D models where you need to know like Blender and things like that, which is a little more complicated. So I think that was a winning formula, and then it was all just a matter of watching the progress unfold. And it was good because they delivered.
What was the first thing that you built, or one of the couple of things that you built when you first got the Game Maker? Because 0.1. I don't know if I was around for that, right?
Yeah,
I still got my oldest video. I've got my oldest video on YouTube. The very first video is my first project, which was just playing with the mechanics. The door function didn't work too well. There wasn't anything in there compared to what it is today. It was very bare bones and a lot of bugs. So I didn't build anything substantial because it was more of a bug finding process and reporting problems and requesting features so we can get some games working in the Game Maker to showcase it. So when it becomes 0.2, 0.3, the game jams kicked in. So the first time the game jams started, I hopped on board. Obviously, I wanted to see what people were making and what I could do. And yeah, I got second place in the first game jam. And then in the second game jam, I got first place because I discovered the teleport technique. And I showed a good example of how that can be used in the Game Maker. And yeah, it all snowballed from there pretty much.
Yeah,
games
pretty
were
much
those?
everyone using
What was that?
teleportation now is using your technique.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Clay.
I was just curious, what games were the ones that got second and third, I think?
Yeah, so the first game jam was Fire and Ice, so that was the theme, and I made a fantasy world called Grey Labs, where you're like a clone kind of guy in a factory, and you're trying to find your way through, and you're on a trial, and you get to pick the fire or the ice trial, and they have different events. So the ice one gave you a soccer match against dragons, so you can score goals and whatnot. And the fire one was just obstacles where the spikes were trying to push you off into the lava and things like that. So pretty basic, but at the time it was new and not many people had done it. So it was just a good way to showcase what the game maker did. The first place one, which was a teleport technique, was me and my partner Catherine. We both did it, and it was a Halloween type. I think it was Halloween or zombies. I can't remember. It was something of that thing. And we made it like a Pokemon-esque type game where you're teleporting into a house. The interior is a lot bigger than what the house is out on the world. So we gave that illusion. So when you can go into buildings in the town, you're actually exploring inside the buildings, but they're really just layers under the map. That was first place because it really shocked them of the teleport technique. It's cool to see devs' face to show them something that their program they didn't even think was possible. So that's pretty fun.
Are you a gamer by default? Like, how did you come up with the ideas for some of these games, and what are some of the games that you like to play?
I had a normal Nintendo when I was 5, so I've always been in games since I was a kid. It was my escape from just current reality and family drama and all that sort of stuff that some people may have experienced when they were younger. So I've always been console conscious, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, even the Sega Master Systems and all that sort of stuff. I like the PC the best. I play strategy games like Command & Conquer, Red Alert, Zero Hour, StarCraft, Warcraft 3, that sort of thing. But yeah, I've played everything under the sun. I had competitions for Counter-Strike 1.6, and we did like 5 versus 5 matches with people from other towns around us. There wasn't like online forums. We went to like LAN centers to verse each other, and it was all in person. I felt gaming was a lot better back in those days because of that sort of social aspect of it. Where now it's more separate. You can do everything in your room. There's no human energy or connection next to you anymore. So it drags the energy of some sort of competitive games in that sort of format. That's something that I noticed anyway. But yeah, I miss the old days.
You didn't become a pro, did you, at Counter-Strike?
No, we won a lot of competitions though, which were for money. But
so technically, you are esports player. Technically, because you won any amount of money.
Yeah, I guess so. And I hosted my own competitions. There wasn't a Dota 2 back in the day, but there was a game called Heroes of New Earth, and it was sort of trying to take over that sort of genre, but it didn't do too well. Once Dota 2 come out, it kind of killed that project. But I did 2 versus 2 competitions where I got all the best players in the world to compete and supply money as a prize. And yeah, I kind of enjoy competitions and people showing off their strengths in their field, which is what I was trying to do back in the day.
Cool. When did you start showing interest in making games, like just starting to create, not just playing them, but building them?
I tried a long time ago with like RPG Maker back on the PC, and this is like early 2000s, where you had to use tile sets and build your own like 2D RPG games like Final Fantasy 6 or 5, or even those sort of older games that you see on Super Nintendo. I never learnt a proper programming language to build any games myself, so I kind of lack that ability. I tried to do a few courses. I understand HTML and CSS. I did a bit of C# and PHP, and I kind of understand it, but I can't write it from scratch and tell it what to do. So yeah, I also watch tutorials on the way to work. I used to catch a bus and a train, and it was an hour and a half each way. It was a really long day, but I watched like a lot of tutorials and things in between, and learnt game devs and storytelling and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Well, since you're a creator, I'm just curious on like your opinion on a current model that Sandbox has with you need to be a landowner to publish games. Do you have a strong opinion on if that's a good model for the creation growth, or what's your opinion on that?
It's a very I've had conversations with some members of the community about it. It's very crypto-centric, that kind of concept of there's a certain amount and that's it. Whereas you got like Minecraft, anyone could build their own world and invite friends over, or pay a monthly fee to have your own realm, so you and your friends can build in the same realm. And there's no limitations on how many realms there are. I feel like that's the correct future for gaming. And I think the whole limitation is just a fad at this stage, because it's such a new concept, and crypto is still fresh in its whole concept. So I feel it will work in the short term, but it's going to struggle if you limit your player base just on people who can afford land, or even renting land to post their games, when you have other platforms that have similar building capabilities, if not better, and able to share that with their friends anyway. I think the tie-in to the Web3 or crypto aspect of it can be more of a fad than proper long-term utility. Very hard to plan out. I don't imagine of solutions. I haven't thought too much of the process, but still, that's how I feel this whole field is at the moment.
I'm more on the same page with that. It seems like it's unnecessary friction to make a creator pay tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes, yeah. It works for us in an investment sort of aspect, where we're like, candles go up, and we sell some to the next person. But it's all Ponzonomics, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, hey, who knows? Who knows?
Have you had discussions with the Sandbox team about it, and what are their perspective? No.
Nah, I don't get involved in those conversations. There's business directions. It's something that I declined to do a while ago. It's too political, and people will make their choices regardless if they own the project. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. One direction I did suggest was to make our sidechain Cardano rather than Polygon. And this was back in 2021, when it was a discussion of, Ethereum's too expensive. We need to move somewhere else. I still stand by that decision that it should be on Cardano over Polygon, because the Ethereum chain essentially doesn't have much of a future, in my opinion. Again, another fad that most people are not aware of. Like you got the SEC come out yesterday saying that staking is a problem, and Ethereum staking mechanism goes against the SEC. So they're already fighting an uphill battle, and regulation's going to kill it pretty much.
Even Sandbox is going to have a battle, because I'm staking land right now.
Yeah. So that concept has to be changed, or it's just going to be regulated out of existence. See, Cardano has staking, but they don't take possession of your tokens, so it doesn't fall under the SEC's rules, because their concern is that Ethereum, you need to take the token off the person and give it to somebody else. and that person has control of your tokens, and that's their form of staking. Whereas Cardano doesn't work that way. It just stays in your wallet. So there is no rule breaking according to the SEC, because then it's a security rather than whatever they're trying to say it is now. So I don't know if, and this is all new, this is only the last couple of days, right? So as the rules progress, and it is being all eyes on crypto now when it comes to regulations. So the future might be pretty bleak if you're in the wrong chain. That's going to be a big problem.
What are your thoughts on Bitcoin then?
Bitcoin's just released NFTs. Have you heard about that?
Yep.
Yes.
Ordinals, yeah.
Yeah, I already looked up about it and how it works. They like attach it straight to the Satoshi itself, and the concept is cool. I still think it's very expensive to transact on Bitcoin, I believe. So utility-wise, it's a step forward, and it's but Bitcoin hasn't really progressed very far. So I really don't know, but I still hold Bitcoin myself because
Do you
I
own any
believe.
Ordinals?
No.
No.
I'm just going to keep the currency because I feel NFTs are, again, a way to drain your actual currency for some pictures, which may or may not be a race to the bottom when things hit the fan. So, yeah. Hold on to your Bitcoins.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Coming back to the gaming stuff, what do you think, in Sandbox specifically, what do you think is the next steps for Sandbox to reach a scale of something like Roblox, where the creators can turn out a lot, like get the numbers that Roblox is getting, those kind of things?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. That's all marketing and accessibility. So if anyone can create a game and share it with anybody without the need to publish into land, and you just have a link that you can click to load into the game, that accessibility will make it rise a lot faster. But it's all dependent on the game maker itself. So they need to iron out all the bugs, bring in the features we all want, so we can build the games that we want to share with our friends. Until they achieve that, they're not going to progress too much higher. I think they may have peaked, and now we're just going to wait for the updates to come out that excite people to make things. So it's a combination of both.
So you're saying that the path to scaling is through updates to the game maker, which allow
in my
more
opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. That's because I feel most of us are here building in the game maker because we're excited to build games. Like, that's the fundamental reason we're in Sandbox. If you're investing in land and you're purely just looking for making money in investments, then most people wouldn't touch the game maker in their spare time. But the ones that are usually are the landholders as well. And we all want to build games to show off. And I feel if we have a strong game maker product that we'll be proud to make our games in and show them off, then it will snowball. And that passion will show when you share it.
Do you feel, I was going to say, do you feel like so far the path that the Sandbox team is following and the progressions you've seen in the game maker, do you think they have that potential to provide enough tools eventually to appease creators?
Yes. So I see all the company back-end emails and communications and planning and all that sort of stuff, and everything's progressing really well. Most of it's been invented since the last bull run. So more funds come in to the project so they can hire all the professionals they need, paperwork processes, all that sort of stuff. So in the last 6 months, I'd say the Sandbox has grown internally with procedures and functions more than they have for the 2 years beforehand. So I think that the progression will be a lot faster from now on.
So let me ask just a tangential question, right? So you as a creator, you care about creating games, right?
Yes.
But the Sandbox is, it's not live, so the amount of people that can see your game is very limited.
Yes.
Have you tried to program in Roblox, which now has humongous reach, right? Like, what is that? Yeah, have you ever tried their game maker?
I only played a couple of games in Roblox, but I never tried building in it myself. I feel like it's another variant of Minecraft where you can still build games, it's still blocky, that sort of thing, but it doesn't have anything new that I would be excited about when it comes to innovation and technology. I'm in crypto because it's crypto, it's brand new, it's undiscovered, it's so much to learn and create that no one else has done before. So I feel Roblox and Minecraft may be left in the dust once Sandbox and these Web3 projects come mature in their programming. I still think we're too early, but the future feels written already, and this is the right path, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. It's just going to get better and more creative.
So then what is it about the Sandbox, in your opinion, stands out a lot compared to Roblox and Minecraft? Because some people would say, well, to me, they look like the same thing.
Yeah, it's the Web3 aspect of it. So the whole idea of being able to gate your games, rent your land, use your assets, build your own assets and share it and sell it. It's just the ownership of it all is the gimmick that we're using for Web3. Don't know what that means for the future. It may not have any real functionality, but that's what we're really using the narrative for at the moment, is that you own your assets. You can bring it to other worlds and other metaverses and use it there and that sort of thing, whatever that may mean.
Cool.
You mentioned Cardano, and we've talked a little about Roblox and other things. But from a metaverse perspective, what other projects are you following, whether the token or the metaverse itself, that you're excited about?
I'm curious to see what other side brings to the table, because Bored Ape's the biggest project with a lot of style as well as money. So they made that Dookie Dash game, which I haven't played, but everyone is very, very in love with it and addicted to playing it or showing frustration. It's not like, this is boring. I haven't seen anyone say that once. It's an addictive type of game. So I feel like they may produce a metaverse that will compete on the level of quality. But when it comes to other projects, they're all still, we're building, but they don't have tools like Sandbox where you're all Decentraland, where you can just build something, display it, show it, share it. They're still like building the engines and connectivity and all that. So I still may be missing some when it comes to researching, but there's a couple on Cardano that are working, but there's still not anything worth mentioning compared to what Sandbox are. Sandbox are too far ahead, I think, in most projects.
Game buildings. I think people in the crypto first, they underestimate how difficult it is to make a game.
Yeah. We've got AI now. It may not be so hard to.
Oh, man.
It's real easy.
Yeah.
Have you seen that there's this web app that allows you to create game assets? Have you seen that, Peter?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Well, 3D ones or voxel ones?
No. Yeah. I wish. No, not 3D. It's 2D assets for now. It's called scenario.gg, I believe.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
So
what, you bring it in Unity or Unreal Engine, that sort of thing? Or?
When I tried it out, you can just create you're essentially just creating images very similar to how like DALL-E would be, but that engine is specifically geared towards creating assets that can be used in games. In the sense, it's like 2D games, like tiles, environments. Yeah, AI
is going to be pretty crazy in the future. I've already seen it create a game with text, like a 3D world. So, and you tell what happens in that game. So my mind just gets blown when I hear about the stuff that AI can do these days. And yeah, next year is going to be crazy. I reckon life-altering AI implementation.
Cool. So let's jump into talking about the new update for GameMaker.
Okay.
I know you kind of experimented with that a lot already. Like, give us kind of like an overall of what you think, and then maybe we can dive deep into some of the specific features that you see are really cool.
Yeah. So 0.8 is a fresh breath air. A fresh breath. I always get that mixed up. But it's got a lot of new features, which is very exciting. There's a lot of bugs that come with it, which is very frustrating. But at the end of the day, it's really amped up the quality of games using the lighting systems. It's really cool because now I can make like a backrooms game where it's completely dark and I've got a torch and you can only see in front of you with a torch. Really, really cool. You can crawl now, so you can get in 1 block spaces where before the avatar's 2 blocks high and you can only go through gaps that are 2 blocks high. Now you have the ability to go through 1, and we have the slide-in ability as well, which is really cool. People have been making social hubs because now we've got multiplayer function with 0.8, so anyone can make a multiplayer game, put on a gallery, and you can all hop in, which is a really big thing as well. People have been waiting for that for ages.
So what the multiplayer aspect, what of the single player mechanics does it now have? Like, what kind of games have you seen multiplayer?
People are still experimenting, so there's a lot of bugs still which prevent people from making their creations that they're trying out for these last couple of weeks. One that I have seen is like a slide-in race game. So you can slide around corners and go around the map. And yeah, it's quite interesting, like a Fall Guys type sort of games. But there's no health component or attacking, so it's kind of still restricted in what you can make for multiplayer. Those features are coming. Yeah,
battle system is not there yet.
It's not there yet.
Got it.
It is coming, but yeah, it's still showing that the 0.8 is progressed compared to 0.7, and new things are coming. The next update is going to be even better with more features, like replacing all assets on the map of a particular type with another one, all in a hierarchy and things like that.
Oh yeah, like that's very helpful.
And folders in hierarchies and all sorts of things. So yeah, a lot more smoother UI.
Do we have any idea when that update is coming?
Only when the bugs are ironed out, pretty much. Hopefully within a couple of weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. What? Yeah. So like, it sounds like you're really excited about a lighting system. What kind of games do you see that we'll get now we have that feature?
Well, we're going to get a lot of horror games where lights can go out, completely dark, that sort of thing. We can do space games because you can change the whole skybox and the colors, so you can make it completely black. So it looks like you're floating in space. So we might see spaceship games and things like that. I was able to replicate Parvin for tower defense, so we can now see tower defense games come in the future where it's not just one line that they're walking, but they're going around a squiggly path. But with the lighting itself, as an indicator in the game, it's very important. You can have look over here. You can have headlights on cars, street lights. You can switch weather and times of day, so you can go from nighttime to daytime just by sending a message, and it fades. It doesn't have to be instant, so it can be like a fade-in effect from sunrise to sunset, which gives a way for like sleeping in bed at nighttime turns it to daytime, and you can go off doing things. So you can have like farming games and those sort of like Stardew Valley type events where there's a timer and you have to go to bed at night, things like that.
When do you think we'll see persistence in the, across the game, in the game world?
No idea. No idea. Hopefully soon.
Well, to that point, what is your wish list for the game maker? If something that is short term, you want to see them implement, and then even long term, what do you want to see?
I want shooting games. I want to be able to make like a battle royale. I want to be able to pick up a gun, shoot someone, and make it not corny. Make it feel like Counter-Strike or Team Fortress 2, where it works so it works smoothly, like the way you expect it to. So shooting is one. People want racing car games. I know that's going to be planned in the near future. So you're going to be able to hop in a car and drive around, which will be cool. I'd love strategy games. I'd like a whole, where you can point with your mouse and click to interact with the world around you rather than just be a 3D model and press E at this location where it's just detected by a radius, but more like specifically click with the mouse or E where the mouse is pointing, so you can have like a really small numpad where you can actually click each individual number on that numpad. That sort of feature would make things less clunky, because right now to get like 9-digit codes, you've got to use an ASCII, which only has 4 options. And then if you want to bring out 9 numbers, you can have a next button and then a next button to bring out more numbers, but that's kind of clunky, right? So something like that will really bring Game Maker up a level, I believe.
I'm really wanting the shooters as well. That's actually how Jack and I met. I had him make a replica museum of Halo 2 Lockout, one of the maps, and that's basically. And to your point, the racing stuff, I want to see that too, because I think that would play well with their Rev ecosystem. So you would see like some crossover interoperability that kind of happens now with the PFP stuff with Sandbox, but now we can see some actual assets that you can, drive or
yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of cars that were made in the Sandbox already, so it'd be nice to be able to like drive around in them. So yeah. Even changing the avatar in the middle of a game would be useful. The way it looks or the way what it is that you're controlling. Having armor that you can put on, which is detectable by the world around you. So like you can't enter the castle unless you're dressed up as a guard to trick the guard in front of you to let you in. Things like that would be, I'd say, simpler to implement than a whole shooting feature and still give extra gaming creation abilities that give good storytelling and gameplay mechanics.
Wait, so you can't do that right now? Like the wearable, there's no logic tied to the wearable that it could be detected?
Nah, no tag that live on it. Yeah, it's been heavily requested for a while. So hopefully it's something they bring out soon. So like you remember the Walking Dead game jam, right? Like there was that game that we talked about, like the first place game. I remember one of like how did they get that to work? So it's a pickable object. So when you press E, it's placed over the person by default. So it's nothing that they're really wearing, and that has a tag which works, but it's not an actual object that you equip on. So the tag is allowed to work in that scenario.
Got it. Wow.
If the player presses E, it drops it. So yeah.
I see. Cool. So I know that you launched your own NFT game, naturally on Cardano. So I'd love to hear, like what it is and like why did you even, tell us the story. Why did you, create something, outside of the Sandbox? Yeah.
Yeah, so I created Cosmic Combat, cosmiccombat.io. It's just a demo at the moment. The main features come out next week, so pretty soon. It connects to your Cardano wallet and displays your NFTs in the game, which you can use to PvP with other players. That function already works. I played a game today to test it out. The whole idea of the game was to give me something to do while I was waiting for 0.8 to come out. So I wanted to learn about Cardano and how NFTs work and the metadata and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I just went through the whole process out of curiosity, pretty much.
Was it like a 2-week game jam for you?
It took about 6 to 8 weeks to get it from nothing to something, using Blender 3D and creating a website, minting process, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Did you do everything, or did you hire out some of that stuff?
I did most of it. I hired out one person to help me make a 3D asset in Blender that I could use. And I've got a coder to help me with the Unity side of things, because I can't code. But I just let them know what I want. And they just put it together for me, which is nice. So I got my own server, got wallet connectivity. He's been great. Does a lot. He does pretty well.
What was why did you choose this kind of like space alien theme as opposed to something else?
I kind of played with DALL-E. Like, one of my roadblocks to creating my game is the art. Like, I try to look for an artist to make me 100-something characters, and it was going to take him a year to do. And I was like, this is a roadblock for me getting my game done. And then DALL-E come along where you can create images out of text now. So I'm like, maybe this can, just get me to where I need to make this game. So I didn't want to focus too much on the art. I wanted to create, something basic, but something that looks okay as well. And yeah, DALL-E kind of unlocked that for me. And I really liked the look of the space creatures when I was playing around with it. So I went with that theme and carried on there. So it wasn't something that I planned on paper. It's just something that connects as you're experimenting with things and working it out.
Got it.
Do you have a long-term plan for the game?
Yeah, so next patch is rating system and ladderboard system. So we can now do competitions. Person with the highest, top 10 of the highest rating at the end of the month wins prizes and ADA and all that sort of stuff. So I just want to have an easy game that people can just hop on and play and compete. But it's more of a fun project rather than a serious business idea.
Yeah, so I played it. I also hold an NFT disclaimer. So
nice.
I'm trying to pump my own bags.
Thank you. I don't know about pumping bags, but
yeah.
I believe once the project is in a nice state to present, I'll make some videos and I'll do some marketing. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you didn't do any of the coding.
No coding. No. So I got like I said, it was on Fiverr, I believe. I found them. So there's a lot of red flags, but yeah, there was one that made sense to me, and it was legit. So it's good.
Do you foresee trying out like other game engines when you have spare time?
Before the pandemic, I was playing with Unreal Engine and the blueprints and just playing around that just to see how it worked. But I don't see myself doing any of that personally. I think I'll be better at managing a team, pushing a direction rather than coding it myself.
Cool. So yeah, just to wrap up, tell us, what you're excited for, for the Sandbox and, maybe the next year. Yeah.
Yeah, Polygon. So once everything moves over to Polygon, we can all create assets really, really cheap, less than a cent to transact. So that means we can start handing out NFTs to the community members, which makes it more affordable for people to, create NFT communities within the sandbox and give out prizes. I think it's a big thing, in my opinion. What else? I think live streaming in the sandbox is coming for the Snoop Dogg concert. So they're already working on those main features, and I've seen examples of it working. So once we get access to that, which would probably be no later than mid-year, I'd say, it's really going to be another game changer, custom audio, video streaming inside that's synced with everybody. That's going to add a lot of value.
Cool. So so that's not out yet in 0.8.
No.
Okay.
So 0.8 is going to have stages where they bring these functions in.
I see.
Yeah. Because they still haven't quite worked out all the bugs. Was there the innovation, they're innovating this as they go along. So it takes a while. Yeah.
So, tell us how people can find you. I know you have a YouTube channel where you do all these tutorials. Yeah.
So I do have a YouTube channel. That's where I put my game maker tutorials. I will be making more in the near future as well. I'm also on Twitter, and I live on Discord pretty much. I don't have any credentials to give you. I don't really know what they are, to be honest, but CyberDragon Ada is my Twitch account.
Yep. We'll put all your socials, in every single video that we're going to create for you. So out of this interview, so people can find it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Great. So thanks again, CyberDragon. And hopefully we can talk to you soon. See what else you're working on and the progress of the Cosmic Battle game.
Thanks for the invite. Cosmic Combat, yeah. Thanks for the invite. I had a lot of fun. Clayton, Jack, good to meet you.
All right.